A man worth more than 4,000 crore just bought a jet. He didn't sell a single share to pay for it. He didn't touch his savings. He didn't even use his own money. He borrowed it, every rupee. Somewhere else, a man who has never missed a single month of saving is quietly getting poorer, and he has no idea why. Two men, two completely different relationships with money. Only one of them is playing the game right. Rohan had done everything right. Every month, a fixed amount left his salary before he could even touch it. No debt, no credit card balance carried over, just steady, disciplined saving, the way his father had taught him. 5 years of it. The number in his passbook had grown. It should have felt like progress. It didn't. Prices kept creeping up faster than his balance did. The math wasn't adding up, and he couldn't say exactly why. It just felt like running on a treadmill that kept speeding up under him. He wasn't reckless. He wasn't bad with money. If anything, he was better with money than almost everyone he knew. So why did it feel like he was losing? He was helping his uncle clear out an old storeroom that weekend, pulling out yellowed newspaper sheets to wrap a set of plates. One sheet almost went straight into the trash pile. Then a photo caught his eye. A businessman, decades ago, smiling for a photograph right after reporting record profits for his company. And right below that same photo, a second headline from only weeks later, the same man taking out one of the largest loans of his career. That made no sense to Rohan. Why would someone with that much cash sitting in the bank go and borrow more? If he had the money, why not just use it? He folded the page instead of wrapping it around a plate and slid it into his bag. That night, Rohan couldn't let it go. He opened his laptop and started digging through old financial news archives, trying to find out if what he'd seen was a one-off, some strange decision by one man, or something bigger. It wasn't a one-off. It was everywhere. Company after company, founder after founder, borrowing heavily even in years when they didn't need the cash at all. Big loans taken out right after big profits. It read almost like a pattern deliberately repeated, not a coincidence. He kept reading. Eventually, he found the pattern's name tucked into a paragraph explaining how large asset owners financed new purchases. Collateralized lending. Instead of selling something they owned to raise money, they borrowed against it. They kept the asset. They kept whatever it might still become. They only paid interest on the loan sitting against it. Sell an asset, and it's gone, along with everything it might have grown into. Borrow against it instead, and the asset keeps working in the background, while the cash still lands in your hand. It sounded almost too simple. Rohan wondered if there was a catch, some obvious downside that made this a bad idea for ordinary people. He kept that question open and kept reading. A few days later, hunting for his passport in a drawer stuffed with old paperwork, Rohan found a bank statement from 3 years earlier. He almost didn't bother looking at it. Then he noticed the interest rate printed along the bottom, small, unremarkable, the same number his account had been paying him for years without him ever really checking. He pulled up his current statement next to it. Same rate, barely moved in 3 years. Now he lined that number up against how much prices had actually climbed in the same window: groceries, rent, the cost of things he bought without thinking twice. On paper, the gap between his savings growth and rising prices looked small. In real terms, it meant something much larger. His money had been quietly losing value the entire time he thought he was protecting it. Saving hadn't failed him by accident. It had done exactly what a savings account is built to do: sit still, stay safe, just not grow anywhere near fast enough to keep up with a world that kept getting more expensive around it. For the first time, Rohan understood why the treadmill kept speeding up. It wasn't that he was doing something wrong. It was that discipline alone was fighting a battle it was never designed to win. He went back to the newspaper clipping and to everything he'd read that night in the archives, and finally saw the full shape of it. The businessman in that old photo hadn't borrowed because he needed the money. He'd borrowed because holding debt against a growing asset, while prices quietly rose around him, put him in a better position than sitting on cash that shrank in real value for nothing in return. Every year that passed, the asset behind the loan kept climbing, and every year that passed, the real cost of paying that loan back kept shrinking, because the money used to repay it was worth a little less than the money originally borrowed. The rich didn't fear debt. They used it exactly the way a company uses a loan to grow faster than it could on its own. The same logic explained in every finance textbook, just rarely applied to a person's own life. The debt didn't sit there as a threat hanging over them. It sat there as leverage, quietly working, while whatever it was borrowed against kept moving upward. Meanwhile, cash sitting untouched in a savings account had no such leverage working for it. It just sat there, technically safe, actually losing ground one price hike at a time. Rohan thought about every year he'd been proud of his growing balance, proud and slightly poorer than he realized the entire time. He wasn't about to run out and take on debt he didn't understand. That was never the lesson hiding in any of this. The lesson was smaller and sharper. Debt wasn't the enemy he'd always been taught it was. Blind, unplanned debt was the enemy. Debt with no asset behind it, no purpose, no plan for how it would be repaid, that kind of debt could genuinely ruin someone. But debt used deliberately against something built to grow was the same tool the wealthiest people in that newspaper archive had been using for decades, dressed up as a strange decision by a man with too much money. Rohan still saved. He didn't burn his passbook or swear off caution, but he stopped assuming that saving alone was the finish line. He started asking a different question instead. Not just how much am I setting aside, but what is that money actually doing while it sits there, and is there a smarter place for at least some of it to work? He never met the businessman from that photograph. He never needed to. The old page from a storeroom he almost threw away had told him everything he needed to start asking better questions about his own money.